Melody and Beth Ann in the morning, where talk is real, truth is in the talk, and there is power in the truth and in the tap dance. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Melody. She's tap dancing away there.
Good morning. And I'm not even out of breath.
I was going to say, you're just in such good shape.
Absolutely.
Oh, listeners, we're crazy. But it is Friday. I don't know about you, but I've had a Monday already, and it was just my fault. I had something spill over in the car on my way here, and then the computer didn't want to come on, and then it just sat there spinning and said, this is not responding. I go, oh, really? It's not responding. So you know what? I was kind of needing a closet to go sit and crying.
Oh, we talked about that yesterday. Yes.
The crying closet.
Yes, crying closet.
Probably the most expensive daycare for rich kids that there is. It's the college cry room.
I had a blast with Pastor Bush on the 4 o'clock program yesterday afternoon because he brought that up about crying. And, so tell the listeners about it in case they haven't heard.
Oh, it's a cry closet, and it's available now to help college students cope with the stress of finals and the university. This is at the University of Utah, where students created the closet as a wood shop project. Oh, they built their own closet? It's too funny. So the freestanding closet was installed Sunday at the university's library and is available for stressed out students. A statement on the closet door read per USA Today, the closet is lined with black interior and plush stuffed animals inside.
Oh, good heavens.
Oh, it is
just animals.
You can cry, you can scream, you can look at your phone and decompress, and hopefully you come out feeling a little bit better in this crazy week of finals. So they don't go out and, I was not a college student, but so they don't go out and just drink and eat pizza to get over it. They're going to have a crying room.
Well, they're Mormons. Utah is Mormons.
Oh, so they can't drink. Okay.
So they can't
drink. They can eat pizza.
They can eat pizza.
All right.
And I used to market when I was in the insurance business, the Northwest and a lot of those western states I was a marketing rep for. And, of course, Utah was one of my territories. And there's a lot of Mormons who do drink, though.
Because kind of like the Baptists, they're just... They do that in the closet,
I'm not saying they all do, but there is a little rebellion going on with some of the younger, and because they used to take me to, when I'd get up there, they would take me to the clubs and stuff. So yeah, they
just did that for you.
Yes, but now they have crying closets.
It's just in the university there, and I guess I find it kind of odd. We're not teaching these kids how to handle the stress. I guess that is one way to handle it. Go sit and cry.
Cry.
But, if they're going to build a closet, why don't they just go all the way and have a spa? Put a hot tub in.
And I'll tell you what, if that's, and you're absolutely correct. They need to be, taught how to handle this stress. What do they do when they get out into the real world? The real world will not have crying closets for them.
Well, those who took shop class, they know how to build a closet. So I guess they could just build a closet wherever they go. When you're on the job interview, you can ask them, and do you provide a crying closet?
We no longer provide health benefits, but we do have a crying closet for you.
That's perfect. That's perfect. Why didn't I think of that?
No, I know. But people might want to cry about, go into their crying closets when they hear about the GDP for the first quarter. The U.S. economy slowed in the first quarter. Consumer spending grew at its weakest pace in 5 years. And, of course, they're talking about that it's temporary. Oh, of course, against the backdrop of a tightening labor market and the large fiscal stimulus. Was that large fiscal stimulus going away? Gross domestic product increased a 2.3% annual rate. So it's a far cry from the 3% and higher that anyone was anticipating. So it doesn't show, let's see if there's anything else interesting. in this little report. The fourth quarter was 2.9%. Actually, because I'm just reading this for the first time. It just popped up, but I'm just reading it for the first time. It doesn't, of course, everyone is expecting the second quarter to accelerate. Of course, what else are they going to say? And they're still expecting a 3% target, despite the weak start to the year. And it was a relatively warm start to the year, I believe, if I remember correctly. And it was long and cold. But it was relatively mild. We had one snowfall here on the eastern shore. So the consumer spending, which accounts for more than 2/3 of the U.S. economic activity, braked to a 1.1% rate in the first quarter, and that was actually the slowest pace since the second quarter of 2013. That's a lot of years. And So let's see. It was the consumer spending was undercut by a decline in the purchase of motor vehicles, clothing, and footwear, as well as a slowdown in food and beverages. And if there's anything else, business spending on equipment slowed to a 4.7% rate in January to March quarter, but they did have a double-digit growth in the second half of the 2017. So it's kind of interesting. The cooling equipment investment partly reflects a fading boost from a recovery in commodity prices. So prices are rising and people aren't buying, and that's what happens. I guess that's probably government spending grew at a 1.2% rate, slowing from the fourth quarter's 3.0% pace. Really? We'll see if we believe that. But they had already spent $1.3 trillion, so maybe it did slow a little bit. Let's see. Trade added 0.20 percentage point to the GDP growth as rising exports offset an increase in imports. That was driven by royalties and broadcast license fees that were related to the Winter Olympics. So they're still bringing in the Winter Olympics. Weak U.S. dollar and strengthening global economy are also boosting exports. Consumer spending slowing, inventories increased. And that's pretty much for the GDP report. So we just, like I said, I just saw that. It was actually published about an hour ago, but this was the first time I had the opportunity to see it. So we'll see what the second quarter does, but I can't imagine it's going to be much better.
Well, that's not much to look forward to. Well, maybe with all the extra money everybody's going to get in their paychecks now, it'll turn that around. They'll go out and spend, and that'll all go change, and things will happen.
With higher gasoline prices, higher health care for this year, highly unlikely.
Well, it's a good thing they're getting a little more in their paycheck.
So, we all need to, let's go cry.
We all need the crying closet, especially. Well, Tom Brokaw needs the crying closet. He's in trouble. He's got two women that have accused him of sexual misconduct. Yesterday they found Bill Cosby guilty of his sexual assaults, or whatever you want to call them. And, that's so disappointing. We looked at him as a family guy because of his comedy, and his TV shows always seem to be clean, and it's such a disappointment. But that goes to show you cannot put any person on a pedestal. We all have faults, and this one was a big one. But anyway, according to the report here that came out yesterday, Tom Brokaw has been accused of sexually harassing war correspondent Linda Vester. So I guess we're even naming names, so it's going to be coming out. And two of the friends have corroborated her story. And Brokaw has admitted he spoke with Vester about her career, but adamantly denied the allegations. He said, I met with Linda Vester on 2 occasions, both at her request, 23 years ago, because she wanted advice with respect to her career at NBC. The meetings were brief, cordial, and appropriate. And despite Linda's allegations, I made no romantic overtures toward her.
23 years ago?
23 years ago. But she's feeling bad about it today, because other people are getting money and sending people to jail. But anyway, broke. I always want to call him Broke Jaw because there was a local morning radio program here, and he did impersonations, and he did a character called Tom Brokejaw, and he sounded just like Tom Brokaw. Anyway, I'm always trying to say the other word, but anyway, we have the sheriff. I've lost my article here. There it is, right here, right on top. The sheriff in Broward County, he's not faring too well. Did you hear about they had a vote of confidence or no confidence? The deputies voted no confidence by a margin of 534 to 94, and will ask the Florida governor, Rick Scott, to remove Israel from his position.
Good.
And so he is about cooked, I think, for what he has done or not done there in that county and in the state there where they had when they had the attack there at the school, so much has come out that they did not do or that they covered up, and not just the county, but the county sheriff is the law. And anyway, 534 to 94. That's pretty low confidence in a sheriff for the deputies there. Anyway,
wish we could do that. Wish we could do that to the politicians in D.C.
Yeah. Well, they've got the lowest rating ever. We should compare that. We should compare that.
Yeah, but they stay in there, though. That's what always baffles me. Everybody complains that they have the lowest rating ever, but hey, look who gets reelected.
I was talking to somebody the other day, and this is how in depth this stuff goes. Somebody that's running for an office here in the state of California, in the state of Missouri, running for senator. And I was talking with her about another person that was running, and I said, this person doesn't really seem to be serious about her run. I offered her airtime, and she said, I'm just not a very good speaker. And it's like, well, what in the heck are you running for senator for? But she kind of enlightened me that it was an opposition, and she was there just to kind of take some votes away from some of the others. And she was a Republican opposition, I should say. So the Republican Party and some of these offices, they do such dirty stuff. And I'm thinking, why does this young woman even want to do this? So anyway, it was kind of interesting. She was telling me exactly what was going down. She said, I've even talked to her about it. Oh, no, that was in the past. So it is dirty, dirty, dirty. And, of course, they're all running for the Senate seat that's up for grabs with Claire McCaskill. So that was the Senate debate I did last week on Tuesday evening that I was a judge on. It was interesting. It was interesting. But they had all of them there. They had the Green Party was there. They had a couple from the Democrat Party, and the rest of them were all these Republicans running. And anyway, it was interesting, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens. We really hope to get Claire McCaskill out of there. Not with the Green Party, though. The Green Party didn't know anything. I hear music. We're going into a break. Your calls are welcome. It is Friday, which is open mic. Open mic Friday, which we failed to mention. 717-300-1218 is the number to call. 717-300-1218. And Melody and Beth Ann, our mics are open, and we'll be right back.
Hear it first on FirstAmendmentRadio.com and FirstAmendmentRadio.net. Gold and silver is tremendously undervalued. Global demand vastly exceeds mine supply by more than 60% annually. There is little in the financial world more certain than a coming explosion in the prices of gold and silver. The U.S. dollar continues to lose value and respect as the world's reserve currency. Our nation faces challenges on many fronts, and a day doesn't pass without another economist bringing forth warnings of impending economic calamity. There has never been a better time than right now to acquire physical gold and silver. Discount Gold and Silver Trading was founded on the principles of truth and honesty. We believe in providing a quality product, quality service, and most importantly, competitive pricing. We provide all forms of precious metals, including American gold, silver, platinum, and rare investment and circulated coins. Silver bars, rounds, and 90% silver bags are on hand for the silver investor. Gold self-directed IRAs are available. Call Discount Gold and Silver Trading at 1-800-375-4188. Toll free, that's 1-800-375-4188.
Visit crosstheborder.org, CROSS, crosstheborder.org, to get your print, EPUB, or PDF version of Nicholas Arthur's new book titled When the Third Temple is Built. That's crosstheborder.org. When it comes to prophecy today, much of the evangelical Christian world has their eyes on Israel, waiting and watching to see when the third temple will begin to be built. The plans are drawn. The Jewish people are eager. Most evangelical Christians today believe that the rapture will happen before the third temple is built. Hi, I'm Michael Eugene. I was taught that Daniel's 70th week was in the future. Is that really what the Bible teaches? Have we searched the Scriptures and found this to be true? Why is it so important for a reestablished Israel to build a third temple in Jerusalem? Is it necessary to build a temple on the same location already occupied by the Dome of the Rock? Is it necessary for sacrifices to take place in the temple on Temple Mount? Is there really a rapture followed by 7 years of tribulation? What is the New Testament temple? Can we identify history and prophecy? Who is the first beast in Revelation chapter 13? Who are the 7 kings in Revelation 17? I have asked all these questions, and I have found Nicholas Arthur's new book, When the Third Temple is Built, answers all these questions and more using Scripture to interpret Scripture. The Bible says that no prophecy of Scripture is of any private interpretation. Nicholas shows us in his new book, When the Third Temple is Built, how the Bible interprets prophecy and not man's private interpretation. Visit crosstheborder.org, CROSS, crosstheborder.org, to get your print, EPUB, or PDF version of Nicholas Arthur's new book titled When the Third Temple is Built. That's crosstheborder.org.
Years ahead of the dominant media, FirstAmendmentRadio.com and FirstAmendmentRadio.net.
And we have returned. You're listening to Power Talks with Melody and Beth Ann in the morning, and it is a Friday morning, and you know what that means. It is Open Mic Friday, and your calls are, well, I'm talking silly. I don't know what's going on with that. Anyway, it's Open Mic Friday, 717-300-1218. That's 717-300-1218. I have, unless you've got something, I have an article I want to talk about. I want to ask your opinion and the listener's opinion. This is a ruling, a judge's ruling on the businesses.
You didn't even let me answer if I had something. But go ahead, I'm just teasing.
Well, since you wanted to leave early today, I thought.
Go ahead.
All right. The judge ruling on businesses kicking out Trump supporters. And it says it sets a new precedent. Well, I don't like setting precedents. But anyway, bottom line is, the judge ruled that it was okay for this bar owner to kick out the patron that was wearing a Make America Great Again hat because the owner of the bar doesn't like Trump, and he said anybody who supports Trump is not welcome here. So he kicked him out. And the judge is upholding it because he has the right to do that. Now, it says on the surface, the ruling has upset many. And well, so I'm a little upset about it. I'm not sure I'm in 100% agreement here, and only because, or maybe because, it's been the opposite when it's the other side of the coin. Anyway, on the surface, the ruling has upset many. It comes across as another court ruling against a Trump supporter by a politically motivated judge who doesn't care about conservatives being discriminated against. But in truth, this guy says, the writer, which is Martin Walsh, this is coming from Conservative Post Daily. Or Daily Post, Conservative Daily Post, excuse me. He said, but the truth is that the judge is correct. Privately owned businesses should have every right to refuse service to anyone. Now think about that and where we are here today. This also means the rule should apply when it goes against liberals. Well, okay, think about that. But it doesn't apply. The bakers, they completely ruined their businesses. They put them out of business because the fines were not even doable. So what does that mean? So it says if a business owner doesn't want to bake a cake for a gay couple because of religious beliefs, that a person should have every right to serve whoever they choose. Whether they lose or gain business is irrelevant. It's about ensuring freedom of rights. Well, didn't we go through this when they refused blacks, when they refused to serve Indians, when they refused to serve Asians, way back when they refused business to Irish people? I mean, haven't we been through this? Now, I think that they have the right, and don't get me wrong, but I'm just kind of throwing this out because look what has happened in the past several years. It says a bar should be able to refuse service to a guy wearing a Trump hat, just like a bakery should be able to cite religious beliefs for refusing service to a gay couple. They didn't refuse service. They refused to do the wedding. They always sold them cakes or whatever when they came in there, but they refused to do the wedding. It said he finishes off here, protecting religious liberties and freedoms is what this nation was founded on, and I agree with that 100%. Where the Founding Fathers intended for citizens to be protected under the law from actions that infringe on those guaranteed rights. And he says this ruling, in a bigger scheme of things, holds those values. It does hold those values, but the part that is upsetting is when it's the other side of the coin or the aisle, it's totally different. So I'm kind of just asking everyone what they think of this, because this is a guy wearing a hat. Couldn't he have just said, take your hat off? Couldn't he have just said, we're not going to talk about that here, don't start any trouble? I mean, he wasn't doing anything but wearing a hat. So should you be able to kick him out of your bar or your establishment just because they got a hat on that you don't like? I mean, where do we draw the line?
Well, you know, there's a young man that is suing. I just saw the brief headlines this morning. He was in school. He had a T-shirt. He was suspended because he had a T-shirt that said, "Don't tread on me." There was no picture of a weapon or anything like that. And he's suing as he believes his rights were not acknowledged. And, I mean, I'm a believer if you're in a business, you should be able to do whatever you want to be. And, I mean, certainly there is people are truly discriminated against at times. But you're right.
Couldn't you politely say,
absolutely,
there's a lot of controversy. Could you just take your hat off?
Absolutely, especially if he was walking into a Democratic bar.
Apparently, might have been.
Might have been. He might have done it, just to stir things up. But I agree. Businesses should be able to hire and fire whoever they want, and that was taken away with affirmative action. People should be able to do. As long as, but of course, we can cite time and time again, just like this young man who couldn't wear the T-shirt that had "Don't tread on me." That was offensive, and they suspended him for it. Well, there
were several that were suspended here a few years ago, and over T-shirts that had like NRA or something on them in school. And of course, maybe some people should use a little better judgment where they wear these T-shirts, and their hats.
Yeah, it's just like if someone would call into the program and be nasty and ignorant, yeah, we're going to block them. We don't need to hear that stuff. So it's we should have that right to do these things.
Absolutely. We have Tom in Michigan. Tom, how are you today?
Hi, thanks for taking my call. Yeah, you were talking about the guy with the Trump hat and the birthday or the wedding cake, and I agree those are the same thing. But the thing is neither of them have been to the Supreme Court, so it's really premature to put too much stock in them. The thing I really called about though was yesterday you were talking about marriage being between a man and a woman. And, some high-ups have stated that, even on the Supreme Court, I believe. But, the thing is it's really not that simple. When you say marriage, most people, take that to mean, a license, and that's actually a government contract. And, the language, and when Christians insist that marriage be between a man and a woman, it's as if the two sides are speaking a different language. Now, you take, for our income taxing system, there's certain advantages or disadvantages to being married, and excises have to constitutionally be uniform. So when if you use the word government contract instead of marriage, then there, I don't see any reason why it should be between one man and one woman. If it's like if you pass a law that says you have to stop at a stop sign, okay, and that's pretty straightforward. You get a ticket if you don't stop, but then you pass another law that says, well, you get a ticket if you do stop. Okay, now there's no solution. So that's since excises have to be uniform, even on the Obamacare tax, the mandate for the health care, that's in 5000A of Title 26, the Internal Revenue Code. It's right. It's in the section for excise taxes. So, the fact is that just because people are signing a confession when they file that 1040 that they're a taxpayer. Internal Revenue Code Section 1313, and basically then they're admitting that they owe a tax, and if that tax is an excise and they're paying it, that's a confession. But back to the marriage thing, it's one of my pet peeves is this, this argument between the right and the left about marriage being, between one man and one woman. I mean, both sides are right. It's marriage is, but marriage in the sense of one man and one woman is a religious or moral concept where the government contract is totally ruled by rules of commerce, and the uniformity of the taxing code. And I mean, I guess that's a 50-cent lecture, but no charge. So.
Well, the government's the one that decided you needed a license, and it's all about money, and it's all about tracking. It's all about control. It was about control when they decided to do that. They wanted to control who was marrying who, and now they've made money at it, so, they need to open it up for everybody. I appreciate the call, Tom. Thank you. Okay, we've got some other things that are going on. Did you have something, Melody?
Well, along the same lines, we saw how Facebook basically censored Diamond and Silk, and I'm not a fan of Diamond and Silk, but they do have, I'm just, I'm not. I just not my cup of tea, but they have every right to be on there and to be censored. That's by Facebook. So yeah, it's they do try to shut down the message, and they do everything in their power. And I'm glad they went to D.C. and I did see her when when you had the Sheila Jackson, I think she was the one that was asking, well, have you ever made any money off of? No, we did not. Well, what about $1,000 or something like that? $4, $2? No, we did not. Like, what part of that don't you understand? I mean, sometimes these people that are up there on these benches and they ask these questions, it's just like, how do they get elected?
They weren't speaking too highly of some of those in California, and I'm thinking they're not the ones in the area where I was at that are electing some of these goofballs. But Sheila Jackson she's a winner. She's special. She's special. Joy Behar is special. She went. They had quite the little cat fight on The View. Who watches The View? Do any of our listeners watch The View? I got scolded by one of our callers one time saying that she was doing a better job than I was doing, because she's doing exactly what she's supposed to do, and that's make money and bring in listeners, and I wasn't doing that. I thought, ouch, that hurt. But she rolled her eyes around. Of course, Melania's birthday was yesterday. It was yesterday, wasn't it? And they wishing her a happy birthday from The View, I guess. And Joy rolls her eyes around like something, and then the McCain daughter goes crazy on her and just, rips into her, and they really had a cat fight. And I'm thinking, really, is this what people want?
I've never seen such hate.
Oh, it is
pure
unreal. Unreal.
Ugliness, the ugliness. Oh, yeah. And they're not ashamed. They don't even pretend anymore.
Oh, no. They sit there and they call the president a jerk. And I saw something, I didn't see it, I heard it. They were, I guess, asking President Trump what he got Melania for her birthday. He said, well, I've been kind of busy. How many times have I heard that story? He said, I've been kind of busy. And I just had to laugh. He said, I got her a really, 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 really nice card. I'm sure she's well taken care of.
I'm sure.
Then he was bragging about her, what she had done with the big dinner, and you mentioned that, and what a lovely job she did with the White House dinner and banquet where they had the French come in, and it was it was beautiful. It was set up. It was gorgeous. It was classy. Her Christmas decorations were classy, and The View went after that. And what was one of the night comedians said there was no way she did it. They act like she's a trophy wife and doesn't know anything. The woman
she is. She still is a trophy
wife. But she does have some intelligence. She's not just a trophy wife.
She's not. Yes.
She speaks 6 languages. She's got grace.
Europeans do speak a lot of languages, but we got some calls that are holding there. We've got Neil in Missouri. Good morning, Neil.
Yeah, good morning.
We have sunshine.
If you're trying. Yeah, we got sunshine finally. It's warming up. Now the bugs will come out. So
don't
complain. The good without the bad.
Get a fly swatter.
If you don't want to try to make sense out of court decisions, you're wasting your time, because there's been so many criminals promoted into judgeships in this country that they ignore the law, they ignore their own court rules, they ignore the Constitution, they ignore what the U.S. Supreme Court has to say about anything. They don't care because they're criminals. So trying to make heads or tails out of court decisions is just a complete waste of time with these people, because the judge is just going to do whatever he feels like doing, because he knows there are no repercussions. That's the problem. These people aren't being prosecuted. These people aren't being impeached for the crimes they commit while in office. That's one of the biggest problems we've got in this country, is the corrupt judicial system.
Well, I agree with you, but let's bring it down just to this particular article. The guy that wrote it says it's a good thing that he did this, that he ruled in favor of the bar owner, that he should have the right to not serve anybody who comes in there. Now, I trust your opinion, so I'm going to ask you, because I have mixed emotions about this, because I'm thinking, why don't you just ask the man to take his hat off? Are you going to say, I don't like your makeup, so you don't belong in here today, or I don't like the shoes you're wearing, you don't belong in here today? I mean, where do we draw the line, or should we draw the line, or should that... So what's your just personal opinion on that particular ruling?
Well, a property or business owner, the actual individual, not a corporation.
Right.
As long as he's not a corporation or incorporated, he should have the right to tell anybody he wants to get off his property, no matter what kind of business he's running. However, under the Constitution of the United States, the feds have jurisdiction over commerce. So if you have a business that you're running, even as an individual, that affects interstate commerce, then the feds can step in and make you treat everybody equally. But as far as a private individual on his own private property, running his own private business, he should have the right to refuse service to anybody he wants to.
Yeah, how many times have...
That's a right. That's a fundamental right, under the laws of God and the Constitution. So,
how many times do we see signs in restaurants that say no shoes, no shirts, no service?
That's true.
Right.
That's true.
Now there you have a health issue. Okay.
Yeah, I was going to say that's a different issue.
That's a little bit different deal. And there's also the thing of business licensing. You got to remember now, these people that are running bars are licensed by the state. And you got to remember, what's the definition of license? The legal definition of license is permission to commit an act which is otherwise unlawful. In other words, they're engaged in criminal activity. So a guy that's dealing whiskey and other hard liquors is engaged in sorcery, which is a criminal act, which is dealing drugs. Okay? If it's fermented, it's approved by the laws of God. If it's mechanically extracted, such as distillation, that is a drug and that is a crime. Okay? Tom brought up marriage licenses. The license is permission to commit an act which is otherwise unlawful. What's unlawful about getting married? Well, if you go back and you read the law dictionary, it specifically talks about marriage licenses as being permission from the proper authority for persons who intend to intermarry. The word intermarry, when you look that up, means miscegenation. The word miscegenation means marriage between people of different races, as between a white person and a Negro. That's right out of Black's Law Dictionary, okay?
And that's when they started the license.
It was against the law in all 50 states at one point in time for white people to marry outside their race, okay? So if you wanted to do that, you had to go get permission from the government to do that. Now, the reason the government wanted the licensing done for that purpose is because when you go in and you apply for a license, you're telling the government that one of you is not white. Now, if one of you is not white, then the children can't be white. And if the children aren't white, then they're property of the United States government under the 14th Amendment. They're 14th Amendment citizen subjects. They are not United States citizens. I know this is highly technical law, but this is what the law says.
Well,
and that's why the government wants you to get a license, because then they have jurisdiction over your children. Because they are subjects, like, the subjects of the Queen we talk about in England, those are subjects of the Queen. 14th Amendment citizens are subjects of the U.S. government.
Interesting.
So, when you start studying
now
this
you've
stuff
ruined
in depth,
my weekend.
It's just incredible what you find. Do what? you said what again?
Thank you, Neil. I think we lost him. Okay, thank you, Neil. We're going to go to Joe in Arkansas before we run out of time in this segment. Joe, how are you today?
Yeah, I'm getting by. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Okay, I wanted to comment on the subject you were talking about yesterday, and that is changing your personality. And I've learned something about this since when I was younger. I was extremely unhappy with my personality. I was very shy and very depressed. And so all my life I've been working on changing it, finding out the best ways to change it. So I have some things to say on that subject. And what I've found is that, nobody is as good as God originally made us. The theory of evolution is backwards. People have in general deteriorated rather than evolved and got better. Hello? Yeah.
I said if we don't get better, we get worse.
Yeah. If we don't get better, then we'll get worse. Yeah, everything is always changing, and we're going to either change for the better or for the worse. And if we just kind of drift and let things go, then we'll change for the worse. And if we take things in our own hands and do things deliberately to renew and regenerate, then we can get better. And so what I've found is that the way to improve your personality, if you want to improve your personality rather than let it decline, generally is going to deteriorate very slowly, very gradually throughout your life, unless you do something extremely unhealthy like taking a lot of drugs or drinking a lot or something like that. Then it can decline quite fast. But if you want to improve it, then what you need is renewal, revival, regeneration, what I like to call biospiritual regeneration. And what I've found is that there's 4 ways to get biospiritual regeneration. One is supernatural regeneration. This is what the Christians talk about a lot. Sometimes God will give somebody a little boost up so that they're more inclined to do good than to do evil, so that they're more constructive than destructive, and the Christians call that being born again, when God gives you a little supernatural boost up. And that's one way to regenerate. And another way is by doing exercises to boost up your spiritual energy. This is what yoga, for instance, is all about, and you can get quite a bit of regeneration that way. Another way is to improve your physical health. If you really improve your physical health a lot, and most people are quite unhealthy and can use a lot of improvement to their physical health, then you can get some biospiritual regeneration that way. And Wendy Wilson, of course, has talked about that. Has talked about a certain amount of regeneration you can get by improving your physical health. And finally, many people have pain from the past or emotional blockages stuck in them caused by having suppressed the expression of painful emotions in the past, and so they're kind of very inhibited. And I found out this was why I was so shy and so depressed in the past, because I was extremely emotionally inhibited. And then there are things you can do to release your repressed emotions, to release the pain from the past that's stuck in you, and this will make you a lot more full of the joy of life and a lot less timid and shy. If you have that problem, it'll make you a lot bolder in speaking up. So those are the 4 ways of biospiritual regeneration that I've found to improve your personality if a person wants to go about doing that.
All right. Well, I know that there's lots of things we can do, and I thought it was an interesting article that we shared yesterday, and I thank you. And you've been you talk about the changes you've gone through in your life, and I think that's kind of inspiring. We all need to.
It is.
You just can't sit back and say, well, this is the way I am, and that's just the way God made me, and you have to accept me. I don't like it when people say that, because we can always improve. I definitely need lots of improvement. I had a time in my life when I went through some pretty bad stuff, and you just have to jump over that.
When you say that, when people say that that's just the way they are, you're enabling them to stay that way. Everybody accepts it. Everybody accepts it, and yes.
No, it's not.
Absolutely. But we are. We're keeping them the same. It's not in any type of encouragement, for them to change, and so they get caught up. Because I have distant family like that. All I hear is, and she's like my cousin, she's like a sister to me, but all I hear is, well, that's just the way she is. And I'm always saying, well, she needs to change, because it's not acceptable.
He was the Western Star, and he did the song about a family tradition because he smoked and he drank and he did drugs. It's just a family tradition. I think you can get past that. We're going into a break. We'll be right back.
Hear it first on FirstAmendmentRadio.com and FirstAmendmentRadio.net. Since the beginning of time, kings have sought it, nations have fought for it. It has been traded, it has been borrowed, it has been purchased, it has been stolen. There's a reason for it. To secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and to our posterity. Invest with the security of gold and silver. Call Discount Gold and Silver Trading at 1-800-375-4188 or visit discountgoldandsilvertrading.net. Listen to Financial Survival with your host, Melody Cedarstrom, right here on FirstAmendmentRadio.com at 4 p.m. Eastern or 1 p.m. Pacific Time. Visit discountgoldandsilvertrading.net or call Discount Gold and Silver Trading at 1-800-375-4188. Toll free, 1-800-375-4188. The program you are listening to is 100% sponsored by you, the listener, on this First Amendment Rights Media channel. You will notice that there are few commercials on this radio network. There's a good reason for that. Corporate advertising dollars come with strings that limit program content. So without your help, these programs cannot continue on Internet or our several affiliates. If you benefit by the educational law programs, we ask you to give. If you are admonished or nurtured by the Bible and ministry programs, we ask you to give. If some voice a cause that you are passionate about, we ask you to give. If you believe in any of these, we ask you to support them as you would a missionary on a continual basis, as if giving a tithe for missionary radio. These programs are not commercially viable and must be supported by those faithful to the cause of truth. Look for the button to sponsor your favorite programs at our listen and schedule pages on the Internet. Then, when you subscribe, we will send you the last quarterly MP3 CD of that program immediately, and continue to do so with each new quarter. We will also give you unlimited archive access to all of our programs. We're asking you to give much less than a tithe, so that you may also send support directly to a particular program host, cause, and anywhere else the Spirit may lead you. Do all to the glory of our God and Creator, for His holy nation, the only kingdom that will last forever. Thank you for listening. Hear it first on FirstAmendmentRadio.com and FirstAmendmentRadio.net.
And we have returned. You're listening to Power Talks with Melanie and Beth. And in the morning, it's Open Mic Friday, and we're in the final segment of today's show. The number to call is 717-300-1218. That's 717-300-1218. I've been sorting through all this. Of course, we know this happened yesterday.
Segue, but go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
No, it's your turn.
Well, no, this is just real briefly. There was a big deal about North and South Korea. They've come to terms, no more war. They've some very nice photos have been released with the presidents being together, the North and South, and I wonder if the North Korea's president, I wonder if he went through some of those DNA changes as far as his personality.
Interesting way to look at it, maybe. Like, he wanted to have respect and attention. There's no doubt about that as a nation. And so maybe things are changing. Who knows? Maybe they're over there plotting against us. I don't know.
Well, 3 generations, you usually will see, well, I don't know if you will, but I guess in this case, it's 3 generations since the big war and so forth. What I don't understand is I don't understand. They're making the agreements. There's no more war. The next step you would think would be an actual treaty between the 2 countries. Why do we even have to have a meeting with them? Pull our military, bring them home, say, hey, South Korea, you're on your own. Why do we need your protection? You're doing a great job as it is. You're bringing them to the table. You've welcomed them in the Olympics. You made significant paths in getting this getting to this point. What's the United States? Why would they even need to meet with the United States? Pull our military out. Say, hey, it's been great.
Glad y'all are getting along now.
Yeah,
that'd be a good idea. It would. I mean, seriously. But
what they're going to come? They're going to come out and say, well, we're going to denuclearize. Well, okay. What else? What else? Yeah. So. I mean, it's really looking up like they're doing this to eliminate perhaps any influence from the West. I mean, from the United States, that they want to make their own arrangements, that they're really sort of alienating the United States in this major agreement. Although we did see, we don't know the influence that the meeting over the Easter weekend, what actually came through on that. We just see pictures, no information on what had happened and so forth. So I don't know.
And that was with Pompeo, and Pompeo was confirmed yesterday, 57 to 42 vote. So things, I don't know. We're just kind of like everything else we've said. We just kind of have to ride it out and see what happens.
Happens.
I know that I had an article here that I kind of wanted to mention. It seems like it's a fad. I'm going to call it a fad. But there's numerous, an alarming number, it says in the article, of socialists, and it's young people, that are openly running for office, Democrat socialist office on that ticket. And there's a lot of them. And it's kind of scary. But I said when we had this last election wasn't about Republican and Democrat so much about as it is about how is the nation going to continue to be governed. You know, are we going to be a republic, which we've kind of given that up a long time ago because the people aren't doing what they should, and or are we going to be this democracy, or are we going to be a socialist country now? You know, where we have crying closets. You know, we're all social. You know, of course, socialism isn't about crying closets, but you need a crying closet if you have socialism. And, you know, they want to give everything away free. And, of course, Bernie Sanders saying everybody can get a $15 an hour income. Everybody works. Well, I don't know what he's going to do. But anyway, I made the comment to one of these that when they were tweeting, maybe you should ask Bernie Sanders, maybe you should look into his income and his net worth and see how much he makes per hour. Anyway.
Well, the thing even is, you know, after the elections, they've, you know, sold houses, bought mansions, and his wife was under scrutiny for when she worked at the university up there. I'm not even sure whatever came about that. And, you know, there was, you know, so, yeah, there are definitely some skeletons there. And
well, there's a reason he didn't get upset and make a big deal over what happened to him with the DNC. I mean, they did.
Yeah, absolutely.
They did a number on him.
And there's
a reason. And there's a reason. One, anybody is really bad. One, well, and it's not good for your health when you buck Hillary Clinton. It's usually not good for your health. What was it? I read sometime there was like 89 or 90-some% of people, friends of Hillary, commit suicide. So, anyway, there's a reason he didn't buck the system and chose to lose.
He did, and, you know, there's a lot of discussions. I talk about it. I'm not quite sure.
He did get a new house.
But he did get a new house, yeah.
Timely, wasn't it?
He sure did. And so, I mean, yeah, there's all kinds of theories and thoughts, you know, about why. Certainly it was probably financially friendly for him to do so, and he got his orders. They get orders on what to do and what not to do. And but you'd have to look at, because I really do believe he had a really good shot of winning the presidency against Trump. Because
I think so too.
Yeah. So, and to some degree, it's like, you know, the elite didn't want truly Hillary to be president. It's almost like they were leaning in the direction of Trump. And it's not that I don't believe that. I mean, Trump is the face of the American people that the elite are concerned about. And so when you see all these things being thrown at Trump, it isn't because of Trump. It's because of the people. Mm-hmm. It's because of us. You know, it's because of, you know, we finally voiced our opinion, and that's what they're trying to bring down.
Yeah, they don't want the republic to get a hold. And I'll tell you what, the corruption, we can call it deep state, we can call it swamp, whatever you want to call it, but it's political corruption. And
yes.
They have taken over. They're getting rich with the things the policies that they instill, and any of the legislation. I had a lady from Nebraska that used to call in, and she'd say, those who make the laws practice the laws, and there's a reason. There was a country that got rid of all their lawyers once upon a time. They decided that was the problem, and I believe it is.
I believe so.
I believe it is. I believe it is for what they're doing, and they're doing it. They're confusing things, and they're making it all convoluted, is the word. These bills that are thousands pages long. It's just craziness. It makes absolutely no sense, except that they're trying to sneak things in, and they are profiting by what they're doing. They're profiting by who they listen to, who they get paid by, who they get perks from. And there's a reason that they want to be career politicians, and it's because it's paying very well.
Yes. And before we're out of time, I just want to remind the listeners we're running a special on 1/10 ounce American Gold Eagles. That is 1/10 ounce American Gold Eagles. They're $10 lower than their regular price, so you're saving $10 on a 10th ounce American Gold Eagle, and that's a big deal. So give us a call at 1-800-375-4188. I'm sorry, $5. It's $5 per coin savings. It's $5 per coin. They're $145. Today's price would be $150. So great price on the 1/10 ounce American Gold Eagles. If you purchase 3, you can get some free shipping. So give us a call at 1-800-375-4188. That's 1-800-375-4188.
Okay. 1/10 ounce American Gold Eagle, $5. Say that again?
For $145.
Okay, is it 145 or 150?
It's $145 is the
because I'm gonna announce it on CSC Talk Radio here when we come up in another hour. It's been great. It's been fun to be here with you today, and we hope that you have a great and wonderful weekend and a great rest of the day. Enjoy the spring weather we're going to have this weekend. Thank you, Melanie. We'll see you later.
Bye-bye.
Visit crosstheborder.org, CROSS, crosstheborder.org, to get your print, EPUB, or PDF version of Nicholas Arthur's new book titled When the Third Temple is Built. That's crosstheborder.org. When it comes to prophecy today, much of the evangelical Christian world has their eyes on Israel, waiting and watching to see when the third temple will begin to be built. The plans are drawn. The Jewish people are eager. Most evangelical Christians today believe that the rapture will happen before the third temple is built. Hi, I'm Michael Eugene. I was taught that Daniel's 70th week was in the future. Is that really what the Bible teaches? Have we searched the Scriptures and found this to be true? Why is it so important for a re-established Israel to build a third temple in Jerusalem? Is it necessary to build a temple on the same location already occupied by the Dome of the Rock? Is it necessary for sacrifices to take place in the temple on Temple Mount? Is there really a rapture followed by 7 years of tribulation? What is the New Testament temple? Can we identify history and prophecy? Who is the first beast in Revelation chapter 13? Who are the 7 kings in Revelation 17? I have asked all these questions, and I have found Nicholas Arthur's new book, When the Third Temple is Built, answers all these questions and more using Scripture to interpret Scripture. The Bible says that no prophecy of Scripture is of any private interpretation. Nicholas shows us in his new book, When the Third Temple is Built, how the Bible interprets prophecy and not man's private interpretation. Visit crosstheborder.org, CROSS, crosstheborder.org, to get your print, EPUB, or PDF version of Nicholas Arthur's new book titled When the Third Temple is Built. That's crosstheborder.org.
The book of Revelation says, the spirit of prophecy is the testimony of Jesus Christ. This is at the very heart of FirstAmendmentRadio.com. In that spirit, we have created the Prophecy Reality News app for all of your mobile devices, streaming First Amendment Radio 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Available for your Apple, Android device, and smartphone, absolutely free. Get the Prophecy Reality News app installed today so you can listen to First Amendment Radio wherever you are. The Prophecy Reality News app. Get it now.
Since the beginning of time, kings have sought it, nations have fought for it. It has been traded, it has been borrowed, it has been purchased, it has been stolen. There's a reason for it. To secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and to our posterity. Invest with the security of gold and silver. Call Discount Gold and Silver Trading at 1-800-375-4188 or visit discountgoldandsilvertrading.net. Listen to Financial Survival with your host Melody Cedarstrom right here on FirstAmendmentRadio.com at 4 p.m. Eastern or 1 p.m. Pacific Time. Visit discountgoldandsilvertrading.net or call Discount Gold and Silver Trading at 1-800-375-4188. Toll free 1-800-375-4188.